NoDQ Galaxy, we are live with predictions for AEW Full Gear 2024 in Newark, New Jersey. The NoDQ panel is here tonight. We are going to break down the card, discuss the show. We have a special guest on with us, first time on video. We have Oscar, aka Oofman, with us tonight, and he is going to be there at Full Gear in person. And maybe we can hear from you next week with your thoughts on the pay-per-view. So, Oof, how you doing? It's great to have you on finally. And how excited are you for this show? Now, you might have a little bit more excitement than the rest of us, given you're going to be there in person. What made you decide to go, and how excited on a scale of 1 to 10 are you for this show? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you, Aaron, for that intro. Gentlemen, good evening. It's finally awesome to be here on the NoDQ live panel. Again, since I'm going, I've been a big AEW fan since day one, and I'm trying to go every time they're here at Prudential Center. Newark is about 20 minutes away from my house. I live in northern Jersey, so it's a 20-minute ride. I'm going with a couple of friends on Saturday, and I've been to all Dynamites in Prudential Center. I missed the first pay-per-view in Newark, but I said, all right, it's AEW. I like to go to wrestling events live, indie, professional, whatever. Excitement wise, again, like you said, Aaron, because I'll be there, I'm at probably like an 8 because I just love wrestling, whether WWE, AEW, the indies. So I'm at an 8 right now. However, yesterday's Dynamite, it was a little hard. Like, oh geez, what a go home show that was. But like you said, the fact that I'll be there live has actually brought it up. So I was like at a 5 after last night's show. After your review, Aaron, I was back to like a 6 maybe because you gave them the benefit of the doubt, kind of. But then the fact like, oh, snap, Saturday's coming up closer. My seats are pretty cool. I'm in section 1. I have a great view of the ring and the entrance ramp. So I'm probably at an 8.
Nice.
But again, only because I'm going. So
happy to have you on.
If I wasn't going, I'd probably be at a 6.5.
Fair enough.
Because of this past Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tending to agree with you on that one. I'm like at a 6.5, maybe a 7, only because of their track record of putting on great pay-per-view events. But as far as build-up goes, like this might have been the weakest build ever to an AEW pay-per-view. Now, I want to throw this out before we go any further because we may have some not so positive thoughts throughout this stream. Keep in mind, I want to be as positive as possible, and this is just a little disclaimer about this stream. We're all rooting for AEW. We all want AEW to succeed. We all want this to be a great show. We want them to be able to grow as a brand. Nobody is here because we hate watch AEW or we want to see them fail. AEW failing is the worst thing for the wrestling industry, for the fans, for the wrestlers, for everyone. We want AEW to succeed. So keep that in mind. All of our discussion tonight is out of love, and we want to be as constructive as possible. So having said that, Matthew, I'll throw it over to you now. I know you've been quite critical of AEW. You have some nicknames for wrestlers. You call Wheeler Yuta Wheelie. You call Orange Cassidy Pockets, although I think that's a Jim Cornette thing. But go ahead. Matthew, how excited are you for this show?
I mean, honestly, I'd say about a 4. It's again, you know, AEW is known for putting on great pay-per-views, but the build has been terrible. To me, this is a one-match card. Lashley and Swerve is really the only match that I really think has drawn any attention, and even that stumbled a little bit 2 weeks ago when, you know, Lashley called Bridgeport Stanford, and the crowd hijacked the, you know, entire rest of the show. But yeah, after last night, I'm worried because the crowds were dead. They were dead for the biggest storyline in AEW, the whole Moxley Orange Cassidy feud, and they've really got to do something special this weekend to get people, I think, excited, especially with, you know, the declining attendance rating, the fact that we had a collision 2 weeks after the pay-per-view that only drew 1,000 people that they had to move to a convention center because it wasn't filling. You know, they're concerned of, you know, the bigger shows, you know, All in Texas, Forbidden Door in the UK. What is it? Grand Slam
Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, all these 3 massive stadium shows, but you can't even fill 1,000 tickets for Collision. But I want to be hopeful, and like you said, I am critical, but I'm critical because wrestling is better for having AEW. We now have 3 brands here in the US that we can rely on: AEW, WWE, and TNA. And it's better to have all 3 than to have only 2 and then, a lot of people out of work. But, we just need to see better after 5 years. We need to see this change that Moxley and everybody keeps saying is coming. And hopefully this is it.
All right. Thank you for that, Matthew. We'll throw it over now to Mr. Reliable, Walter Cruz in the house. Nice robe there. Nice job with that robe. I like your shirt, too. I like your shirt more than the robe, although the robe is cool. The front of it might confuse some people, but go ahead and tell us. Oh, there we go. Mr. Reliable on the back. Mr. Reliable in the house. So tell us about the robe and how you feeling about this show.
Yeah, it's a robe that I created. The SRS is the Simply Reliable studio that I'm a part of with everybody, with Noah and JJ and Jeff and everybody. So yeah, in terms of AEW, this is one of the worst builds up to the pay-per-views, but I got a YouTube, you got a YouTube, Aaron, Gino has a YouTube. Like, none of us want AEW to win. We the better it does, it's good for us. It brings traffic to our site. So why would any of us? It would be counterproductive if we wanted it to fail. I know I'm the one that makes the jokes, and I did. We had Jeff do the logo, Arena Empty Wrestling, and all that. But it's, I'm about a 6.5. It's just, I can get more excited though, because AEW may not do the best in terms of their weekly television show, but like, you got to go like maybe way back to the beginning to think of maybe one bad pay-per-view. Like, they've consistently been bad. Like, every single pay-per-view has always been worth the $50 that they charge. Like,
Yep.
I've never really thought there was a super bad pay-per-view. So somehow I think they'll pull it out. But I don't know about this Moxley change, because it seems like the whole change he's talking about seems to be a change for the worse. So I don't know if they kind of purposely would do it as some kind of swerve, but hopefully it's not. But I got to give them their due, though, because they know how to do pay-per-view. So we'll see.
All right. So before we get to our predictions, we'll throw it over to Gino. Gino, you got the AEW shirt. You're in the spirit. How are you feeling about this card?
Yeah, like you guys said, they've got a history of putting on spectacular pay-per-views. So that, if we were going to start from zero, brings that up a little bit. And Swerve versus Lashley, maybe MJF, Roderick Strong are what's bringing me to the dance. I was going to be nice and say 5 out of 10 excitement, but Matthew had the courage of his conviction to say his true score, and I'm gonna say mine, 3 out of 10. I'm only looking forward to this for the 2 matches, and some of them just the outcome. And it's not because I don't like it. It's just the build up to these feuds. I heard a quote once where action without narrative purpose is just visual noise. And this is great visual noise, but you need the narrative here. And honestly, I'm only really looking forward to MJF Roderick Strong because of what he said last night about his family. So it's like, you really got 3 people carrying this card. And yeah, so I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to watch it, as far as I'm looking forward to that, but I'm not at the same time. So that's where I'm at with that right now. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys.
All right, let's get to it. So we have to get this out of the way first. We have the buy-in show, and we can sum this up real quick. I mean, if anybody wants to have an opinion on it. So we got QT Marshall versus the Big Boom AJ with Big Justice. I mean, this is This is just an excuse to skip over the pre-show and not even bother with it. Oof, you got to let me know how the live crowd reacts to this one. I'm very curious to see if they boo this out of the building or if they actually like this guy. So first of all, anybody here actually a fan of this guy and his YouTube channel so I can get some insight as to why he's popular?
I don't even know.
I thought he was a bigger TikTok star than YouTube.
Or TikTok, whatever. Anybody familiar with the Big Boom, Costco guys, whatever they're called? Okay, no. All right, so anybody have an opinion on this, positive or negative?
It seems, yeah, it seems childish. Like the kid, for what it's worth, he doesn't seem shy on camera, which is the only thing that's not making it a complete train wreck in my mind. But it just feels the wrong kind of gimmicky. It's like Logan Paul extra light.
Fair enough. Okay, so real quick, we'll just go around real quick prediction. If you want to add anything else, I say AJ wins. Matthew,
AJ's gonna win. We're gonna see the Rizzler, whoever that is. Yeah, I don't care.
Right. Oof.
I was joking, and I'm kind of serious. I was telling people, again, that I'm going on Saturday. I told them, I think during the 0 hour and during this match, I think I'm going to remain in the concourse eating something. I don't even want to be in the actual arena sitting in my seat watching. But for you, Aaron, I think I'll sacrifice to get the crowd reaction. Obviously, QT's in this to lose because, come on.
Right.
It's QT Marshall, so.
Exactly. All right. Walter, anything you want to add?
This is what happens when you order AJ Styles from Wish.com. You get this, AJ. But yeah, AJ, like I think QT's Marshall is just there to try to make him look good. But I feel like there's gonna be like no crowd reaction. Like you have to be really dedicated to his TikTok to even know who he is. So
yeah. Well, maybe some pre-gaming and people under the influence a little bit, maybe they'll get into it. We'll have to wait.
It's a little strange though, because this is a buy-in. The whole purpose makes me want to spend my $50. I want to buy into it. Why book this? You got to book something intriguing.
Fair point. Gino?
I would say that we're probably not the targets for this buy-in hook, right? If they can get even 10 kids who watch TikTok to convince their parents to buy the pay-per-view when they otherwise wouldn't. I mean, you probably want more than 10, but I could, keeping a positive outlook, I could see this might move the needle for the younger demographic who knows who they are.
All right. Well, fair enough. Fair points, everybody. Let's move on. So before we get to the actual matches, we have a non-wrestling segment, so we will address it very quickly here. We got Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa's Champagne Championship celebration. For some reason, this is on the pay-per-view, which is interesting to me. Now, I think this is going to set up Toni Storm's return. I don't know if it's going to be on the show or not, but why else would they put this segment on the pay-per-view unless Toni Storm is showing up or something significant? Something has to be happening. So real quick, any quick predictions on what you think might happen here? Because I don't see them just doing their promo and then that's it. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to show up. There's going to be something. So, Gino, any thoughts on this? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. They're putting this out here to get some type of high-profile return or debut or a turn between the two. Something like that's going to happen. It's not going to go over smoothly. It's like a contract signing. It's never going to go over smoothly.
All right. So, do you think Toni Storm will be there?
I hope so. Yeah, I'll go yes.
Prediction.
Yes
we'll predict this Toni Storm showing up at the pay-per-view to crash
yes.
it. Okay. Walter, yes or no?
Yeah, I think this is the sequel to Toni Storm, like going based off her gimmick. And the fact that was released earlier this week, this whole she may be retiring and thing, is just to drum up sympathy and then boom, a big pop for her return. This might be the opening segment just to get her return out there and get people interested in talking about AEW again.
All right. Oof, any thoughts?
Well, first off, a couple months ago, I went to a con and I met Mariah May. And if you think she's beautiful on television, she's really beautiful in real life. So just getting that out there. She's gorgeous. I'm actually going to take what Walter said and say the reverse. I'm going to say no, Toni Storm doesn't show up on Saturday, though as much as I love Toni Storm, would love to see her live. I don't think she'll appear. Like he said, with that post that she said that she's retiring, I don't think they would post that and then she would show up a couple of days later. So I'm going to say they hold up on Toni Storm. She'll probably come back at a Dynamite or something. And my prediction for this segment is I think Mariah turns on poor Mina, who's another gorgeous woman. I think they'll do their celebration. It looks like they're going to be all hunky-dory. And then everyone's saying it's the perfect spot for Mina to turn on Mariah, but Mariah's the heel. So, and really the crowd, I think we made Mina the face. So I think Mariah clotheslines her or takes the champagne bottle, knocks her out just because I guess Mariah will get jealous. Like maybe she was eyeing the title. I don't know. So my prediction is no Toni Storm and Mariah attacks Mina.
All right. Matthew.
I'm kind of in between. I think both Uthman and Walter are right. This could lead to Toni Storm's return. I think Uthman's kind of right. This could be Mariah turning on Mina and leading to Toni Storm's return after the feud. I hate the whole way that this has been portrayed because this is, we hear, AEW where the women want to be treated, like wrestlers, and this is pure Vince Russo sex object. And I'm half worried, we're going to get the AEW bra and panties match at this rate.
Oh, boy.
But, Mariah May's, her whole time as champion has felt terrible compared to Mercedes. Mercedes is on Dynamite every week. Mariah May's stuck on Collision and Rampage, and she's your women's world champion. They should be having a match and not just some celebration. They should have had the turn on Dynamite or something. But yeah, I'm thinking this is probably going to turn into Mariah turns on Mina, which will eventually lead to maybe Toni Storm will show up after the next, either they'll probably do it at Dynamite or I guess the next pay-per-view is what, Revolution? Yeah. So either World's one of those is probably World's End. That's probably when we'll see Toni Storm again.
It could be just a big tease. Like maybe the lights go out and you think Tony's going to show up, and then they'll just keep doing it every week until they get to the next pay-per-view, like something different every week to build anticipation of her returning, and then she'll come out eventually, but not immediately. Maybe they'll do that.
Had Toni Storm posted that retirement maybe a month ago, then I would change my prediction saying, okay, she'll show up. But I think just too soon. Like you posted that, people are all confused. What does that mean? And then just to bring her back already, like.
Plus, you have the Grand Slam Australia coming up, and I feel like that's going to be the blow-off. But that's 2 months away. That's not right around the corner. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, if she's not showing up, they have to have something significant happening in order for this to be justified being on the pay-per-view. We'll see what they do. That's going to be at some point on the pay-per-view. But let's get to the matches now. I believe we have 8 or 9 matches here to get through. So first up, we have the former AEW World Champion MJF on pay-per-view going up against Roderick Strong one-on-one. Now, I hate to say this because MJF is one of my favorites in wrestling, but this has got to be the first time I've ever said I do not care about this MJF match. I feel like this is a waste of MJF. With all due respect to Roderick Strong, this is a Dynamite match. This is not a pay-per-view match. They were setting up Adam Cole, and even a triple threat would have been interesting because of the dynamics. But with no Adam Cole in this match whatsoever, to me, it's a little bit flat, and they're trying to come up with this storyline with Roderick Strong's mother and father and that shooting to try and build some sympathy for Roderick Strong. It just feels very thrown together, feels like it should be on TV. So I don't really care about it. MJF has to win. I don't know if Adam Cole gets involved or not, but MJF wins this one. I think it's pretty obvious. Gino, I'll go over to you on this one. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I predict that MJF is going to win. I mean, he should. They're trying to, like you said, drum up sympathy for Roderick Strong. There's definitely going to be interference. I'm predicting that there's going to be interference either by both Adam Cole and Kyle or just Cole, but it's going to backfire and MJF is going to get the W.
All right.
He's the number one star, and like you said, like they're saying, he's the number one guy in AEW from my mind. Like he's the only one. He's the one I care about the most. You said it's a throwaway match for him on Dynamite.
All right, Matthew. Anything you would like to add to that?
I mean, I'm in the same boat. MJF needs to win. I want this feud to be over. MJF needs to move on past Adam Cole and Roddy. But I worry that this is still just the beginning. You know, he's going to beat Roddy, and then Cole's going to want revenge. And then somehow Kyle's probably going to get thrown into it. And it's probably just going to keep going. But MJF needs to move on from this. MJF needs to be back in either the world title picture, the continental, one of the title pictures. He shouldn't be feuding with two guys that, yes, they're very good technical wrestlers, but they're not on the level of MJF. You know, MJF should be in the, in your main event, or, your one of your top matches, not, for all we know, this could be the curtain jerker. And it just needs to end, and MJF needs to get back to his winning ways. We haven't even seen him do anything except for 2-minute promos for the last month and a half because he's filming the movie. That's not what you want from your top guy.
Right. I agree with you 100% on that. And that's why I had this match first, because I do feel like it's going to be the opening match. It wouldn't shock me. Walter, prediction on this one?
Yeah, I think the whole reason this feud exists is because it's a throwaway, because he's filming a movie. They didn't have to put much effort into it, so they just kind of threw this together. I think that's what it is. And then MJF is just gonna win. It would be cool if they it's just a big swerve and Roderick Strong just turns on Adam Cole, and the point of MJF starting this whole thing is to tell Adam Cole he can't trust anybody. See, nobody likes you. No, you can't trust anybody. And it's like the whole thing is just a big swerve for MJF to finally get his hand, so they can feud. But the whole thing was for him to prove that nobody likes you, Cole. No, but you can't trust anybody, and it's like your world is crumbling around you or some crap like that. But yeah, to all due respect to you, Aaron, you said this is a Dynamite match. This is more like a Rampage match or a Collision.
Ouch! Damn!
To be honest. This
Well,
is a tape nobody cares about bypass match.
Well, okay then. Oof, what do you think about that? I mean, is this a Rampage match to you? What do you think?
Yeah, it just goes back to what everybody's been saying about build-up and stuff. Think about how this match started. It's like, okay, we're going to get Adam Cole and MJF. All right, cool. Then out of nowhere, the Undisputed Kingdom became faces. Okay. Then the triple threat made no sense. Wouldn't it rather be a handicap match? Roddy and Cole versus MJF? Sure. But then I think someone probably, either Tony or someone in creative, went, wait a minute. Last year at World's End, we revealed that Cole was the devil. So they probably pivoted at the last second going, no, let's not let Cole and MJF wrestle till this year's World End. And now they went, oh, crap. Now we have to build a match. But like you guys are saying, yeah, they probably went, well, we started with Roddy. Let's just get this match out of the way. And I agree with whoever put it in the chat. And also I think Walter said it too. I hope this match does start the pay-per-view. It'll get us excited in the arena, but I hope it doesn't bring it down, because we'll be like, oh, now we have to deal with everything else till the main event. But yeah, MJF takes it, and then him and Cole will probably fight at World's End. Again, 1 year after the whole reveal. Yeah,
that's probably what they're going with. So there's that match. All right, next up we have the TBS Championship match. We got, and Matthew's shaking his head off screen, Mercedes Moné defending her championship against Kris Statlander with the ever menacing Camille in the corner of Mercedes Moné. All right.
Oh, my.
Matthew, I want to go to you first on this one. Oh, my God.
First,
wow.
All I can say is, who did Camille piss off? Really? I mean, she has this presence. She could have been your Rhea Ripley for AEW. She's got this look. She's got that stature. And she's playing the clumsy, bumbling, like Ian just said, the great Khali of, AEW. And I hate it. I hate it. My only hope is Camille somehow turns on Mercedes, but I'm worried that that's just going to turn into a Mercedes versus Camille feud, and it will be a swerve, and Camille will just do the finger poke of doom and fall over for Mercedes. But Mercedes is winning. I hate it because I'm not a fan of Mercedes. I'm never not going to be a fan of Mercedes. And I just feel that both Camille and Statlander are wasted. There could be a better feud between both of them if they haven't already completely destroyed Camille's aura. But yeah, the reigning diva is going to retain. I just hope that, like I said, somehow Camille turns on Mercedes at the end of the match. I don't know if she tries to accidentally cost Statlander and it fails, and then Mercedes just finally gets fed up. But I just want to see Camille get away from Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen on this show or not, but I do agree Mercedes will retain the title here, and I don't know what's going to happen with Camille. I mean, I guess they're going to have some kind of a split, but yeah, this has been pretty bad treatment of her as far as trying to make her a credible bodyguard. Oof, what are your thoughts on this one?
Again, on paper, Statlander versus Mercedes does seem like it will be a good match. I think it will be a really good match. I think Kris will bring the best out of Mercedes. But like, again, it's like we're beating the dead horse here. Unfortunately, the whole Camille thing has been a huge distraction, I think, in my opinion. And I agree with everybody. It's just depressing. I think Camille's aura is dead. I don't know how you can fix her. Okay, so she screws Mercedes and goes after the TNT title. That's fine, but the TBS title, excuse me. But I just think if that's the route they're going, then Camille has to destroy Mercedes. Like, I'm not saying Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston WWE title match, but you know, Mercedes runs it if Camille like clotheslines her and she does this awesome sell, sure. But I think it's too late for Camille. I'm very hopeful that they can salvage her, because the second she debuted, I was excited. When she showed up, it's like, all right, she's the heavy for Mercedes. Maybe we'll get a Diesel HBK thing going. But even HBK and Diesel didn't turn for a while, but it's been barely, not even 4 months, I think. And already we're going with the turning. So my prediction is Mercedes retaining. And I think either Camille will try to help Statlander and it'll backfire, like Matt said, or we get I call like everybody calls it, the Russo special. Camille's going to help, wink, wink, Statlander, but swerve. She takes her sling off. And her and Mercedes were buddy since day one. I will probably boo loudly. So if I'm sore the next day, it's probably because that happened. But my prediction is Mercedes retains.
All right. Walter, do you agree with that take on the match?
I could be. I predicted that everybody's gonna have to take a piss when this match is on, and it'll probably be 9:30. I guess you got to go with the Grand Theft Auto stripper over here, Mercedes, and she'll win. But although the fact that it's not the main women's title and it's just a TBS title, they could swerve and never lose that one and just focus on the women's title. The fact that she's holding both titles hostage is a little. Can she at least lose one of them so they can focus on one and then build somebody else with the TBS title so that title means something instead of her holding hostage both titles? That's what I kind of wish they would do, but I guess Mercedes wins.
All right, Gino, any final thoughts?
Yeah, before I saw the go-home show for the pay-per-view, I was thinking that, Mercedes, like you said, Walter, she got 2 titles. She's had them, at least the TBS one, long enough. Like, I think that, this would be the right time for Kris to get it. And then Kris got the upper hand on the go-home show. And I'm not sure if AEW follows that same line of logic, but I certainly follow that line of logic. So it feels like Moné is going to win this match.
So there you go. We're all unanimous on that one, and we'll move on now to the next match. Oh boy, Jungle Boy, or not Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, going up against Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. So Daniel Garcia stayed with AEW, and this is his big opportunity at a singles championship. The Jack Perry angle, to me, has kind of been a bust, this whole scapegoat gimmick. I'm not feeling it. I'm not really into this storyline period. So I have little to no interest in this match. Now, if you're going to try to make something out of Daniel Garcia, he's got to win the title here. Like, end this Jack Perry, this charade, and let's have a new champion and see what Daniel Garcia can do. I say Garcia wins. Walter, I'll go over to you on this one. I mean, how are you feeling about this match?
I actually hope you're right. I do hope Garcia wins, because if not, what the hell do you do with him after that? He already gave up that stupid dance thing to become more serious just to lose again. But I don't know. Jack Perry's still part of the elite. He's still probably going to be a power trip. So somehow he retains, and I don't want this to happen, but it probably end up in a rematch, and then that's when Garcia can win. So just so we can have opposition, not everything is unanimous, I'll say Jack Perry retains.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm not confident, though. I'm hoping I'm wrong, actually.
I mean, they might as well just take that shovel and dig the dirt over Daniel Garcia if he doesn't win the title at this point. Like, I mean, they've already had opportunities to pull the trigger with him, and I feel like they just won't go with it. So if you're going to push the guy, and this is it, you know. And I feel like I've said this before. Matthew, what are your thoughts?
I honestly could care less about this match. This is probably my second least match that I really don't care about, besides probably the Mercedes match. But like you said, you know, I think, you know, Garcia's ratings, you know, cancer, but they've got to do something with him. They keep pushing him, you know, they've got to put the belt on him. And with Rod and Todd, you know, taking a vacation, the elite is pretty much dead right now anyways, and Perry's floundering. And, you know, Okada's off doing whatever. He'll make an appearance with the Continental Classic, but the whole thing is goofy. And then it's like Garcia's the babyface, but he kidnapped and tortured the heel on Dynamite. The whole thing is stupid. Both characters are, you know, part of what, you know, Punk said the other day, how he feels like he's wasted his time with certain talent. And I think these are two of the examples. But yeah, Garcia's got to win this. Otherwise, what are you doing with Garcia?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Gino, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, I think it would be a smart move for Daniel Garcia to go over. I just don't see it. I don't see them making the smart choice here. I think that they keep it with Jack Perry to continue Tony Khan's like pipe dream type of keep him associated with the CM Punk stuff as long as possible. Again, Garcia technically went over Perry on the go home show by, you know, throwing water on him, breaking the headlight, and then leaving him tied up in the thing. So I don't want Jack Perry to win. I would love for Daniel Garcia to actually go over. He's got a very, if he doesn't win, it's just going to be like Chad Gable to me. Like, oh, they were pushing him, but then he waiting for some contract stuff, and then now we don't care. Now we got him, so it doesn't matter what we do with him. And it's like, okay. So I think Jack Perry wins.
Walter wanted to add that comment. He thinks Garcia is like the Nakamura of AEW. So, Uthman, I'll throw it over to you now. Do you agree or disagree with Walter?
Yeah, it just seems like after he finally signed the contract, it's like he gave that passionate promo on Dynamite, fired me up. I'm like, oh, maybe it's time. Gino said it perfectly. I would like Daniel to win it, but again, after Dynamite, all right, you kidnapped Perry, you destroyed his bus, and then Perry's was egging him. He was saying like, "What else you got? What else you got?" And he walks away. Oh, all right. Does that mean he'll be a true quote unquote badass on Saturday at the pay-per-view? So as much as I would like to see Garcia win, I think I'm going to go with Perry. Unfortunately, retains.
All right. We're kind of split on this one. And same thing with the chat room. I figured everyone was going to say Garcia, but people are not confident he's going to get the title. So I mean, of all the matches so far, this seems to be the one that's the most split. Interesting.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If he does win, I'll be happy. But
Right. Well, we'll
If
see what
none of us
happens.
trust him, imagine how Tony Khan and the bookers and stuff feel. Then nobody seems to trust Garcia.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we'll move on here to the four-way tag team title match. We got the champs, Private Party, defending against the Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King. And then we got the Outrunners, the youngest tag team in the world, or whatever their nickname is. And then we got the Acclaimed, who have kind of been floundering in AEW, and we've had the little teases of the Hurt Syndicate possibly recruiting Max Caster. So what do you guys think about this one? Private Party just won the tag team titles, so I do not see them losing this quickly. I think they will retain, even though it's one of these matches where the champions can lose, where they don't get pinned. I really like the Outrunners, but I feel like they're kind of like a flavor of the month type deal, and they're not going to pull the trigger on those guys. So, Oof, I'm going to go over to you. What do you think is going to happen? Like, who do you want to win, but who do you realistically think will get the W in this one?
well, first of all, I really do not like four-way tag team matches. I like 4 tag team match elimination matches, but the four-way, you can tag other. I think you can tag other teams, correct? Right? Not necessarily your partner.
Yeah, and you know how they just do, like, everybody gets in the ring and does all their moves.
So right there, when they announced, I was hoping it would be an elimination match, and it would get me a little bit excited. But like you said, Private Party just got the tag belts, and although the Outrunners, they're popular now, but like you said, the tag titles have just been put on Private Party, so Private Party retains.
Yeah, I think Private Party retains, but Walter, are you an Outrunners fan? Like, if there was ever a time to pull the trigger on them, would now be the time? What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, before the whole Private Party storyline where they had to break up if they couldn't win, I thought the Outrunners were going to be the ones to dethrone the Young Bucks. I really did. And I was kind of hoping, because then you can afford to do maybe like a 1 month run and then they could lose it because everybody would be fine. Because like you said, they're a flavor of the month. But at least they had that little short run. When somebody wins like that, then they could lose. It's like, yay, we got what we wanted and now it's time to move on. But the fact that they risked it all. Private Party risked it all to get these titles. They risked being a tag team, floundering, and had they had to break up, they would have just been in catering. So the fact that they risked all of that, it just doesn't make sense to have a short reign and lose like that. So they're gonna retain.
Yeah, and shout out to Abraham on X. Yes, I can see the comments on X, so feel free to post some thoughts. If you're watching this on X, I can see the comments. Leave a comment with your opinion. I'll post some of the comments up on the screen. So now we'll throw it over to Gino. Your thoughts on this 4-way tag match?
Yeah, I was thinking it wasn't going to be a retain because why set up a multi-team match, right? I don't like them, but it's an excuse to get the titles off of them without them taking the pin or submission. But then they did the whole fun thing, I think, last night with those TikTok stars or whoever they are. So I'm like, okay. And hearing you guys talk, I think it's going to be. I think they're going to retain. But if they didn't, I would prefer to see more of the Acclaimed personally. So that's who I was hoping was going to win. But after all the things I said, I think Private Party's going to retain. Yeah.
All right, Matthew. Everyone seems to think the champs will retain. Do you agree?
I mean, it would be foolish not to have them retain. They just won it. But I am curious of the crowd reaction, because is this going to be kind of like when we had the Acclaimed versus Swerve and Keith Lee, and the crowd was 100% behind Acclaimed? And I think we're going to kind of get that with the Outrunners. The Outrunners, as goofy as the gimmick is, they're the most over tag team in AEW right now. And if they don't win, is the crowd going to turn on Private Party? And then
good point.
The question is will Tony capitalize on that? Could we see a heel turn of Private Party because of it? Or are they just going to be like, oh, well, you guys didn't get what you want? So I am a little concerned about that. But yeah, Private Party shouldn't be losing. I think I'm also kind of curious who's going to eat the pin. Because if it's the Outrunners that eats the pin, that's really going to make the crowd unhappy. House of Black is kind of in this weird spot. You know, they can't win a singles match against Adam Cole, but they can beat, FTR. So do they lose? And it's like, if the Acclaim eat the pin, that could lead to one of them joining the Hurt Syndicate. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Noah's already put the predictions, but I think the Acclaim would probably be the team most likely to take the fall in this one.
All right. Did we get everybody's thoughts? Okay. So we'll move on from that. Everybody picked Private Party to retain. We'll move on to the next match, which is Hangman Adam Page going up against his old nemesis, Jay White. Now, Adam Page lost at the last pay-per-view, Wrestle Dream. After he beat Swerve in the main event at All Out, he then loses in the opening match at Wrestle Dream. So, to me, this one's pretty obvious. Hangman Adam Page is not losing again. At least I don't think he should, coming off of that big win against Swerve. But with AEW, who knows what's going to happen here. Should be a really good match, but unfortunately, I just do not care all that much about it. Ian says Hangman should be everyone's pick in under 50 seconds. So, Uthman, in under 50 seconds, is Hangman Page your pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hangman. I hope this is a barn burner, as they say in the business. This is one of the matches I'm looking forward to. They had a pretty good match last time. I think Jay White will bring out the best in Hangman, but yeah, definitely Hangman will get the win. And I also predict they'll probably continue to feud after this as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good match, but yeah, I just wish I cared more about it. I guess if you were a fan of their old feud and the stuff they did in New Japan, then you're probably more into this match than I am. I just don't care too much about it. Matthew, we'll go to you next. Your thoughts on this?
Never been a fan of Hangman, but yeah, he has to win. Not really like the way Jay White has been pushed, and honestly, I'm more of a Juice Robinson fan, but Juice just feels like the Jannetty, even though I think he's the better character. He's got
I
energy,
agree.
He's got the charisma. So I honestly would like to see this somehow end up being, Juice and Jay White turn on each other. But yeah, Hangman's gonna win, and like Uthman said, this feud's probably gonna keep going for a while. It's probably going to be Hangman versus Jay White, then Hangman versus Juice, then Hangman versus both of them or something. I don't know. But yeah, Hangman's going to win.
All right. Gino, your prediction for this one?
Yeah, Hangman's going to win. The only thing I have to say is I really don't like how he screamed in his promo last night. Every word just had to be screamed into the camera when there's nobody around. He's not even in front of the crowd. So it upsets me, but he's got to win. So I'm going to pick Page.
All right. Walter, your thoughts?
I'm with the consensus. Adam Hangman Page, which is kind of sad because Jay White deserves it, but I just feel like they're more behind Hangman right now.
All right. So there you go. We're unanimous for Hangman Adam Page on that one. And now we'll move on to what I actually think could be the best match of the entire show from a technical standpoint. So we got Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Big opportunity for Fletcher to step into the spotlight. Will Ospreay's been killing it on pay-per-view. You're in for a treat, Uthman. That's going to be a fun match. I think they're gonna tear the house down. This will be one of the matches that people will be talking about and people will be buzzing about. I'm mild interest in it. More than some of the other matches. Gino, I'm going to go to you on this one first. What are your thoughts on this one? Ospreay's been on a bit of a roll, but Fletcher is the up-and-comer. Do you think he might actually pull off a surprise victory over Ospreay?
That's what I was thinking, again, going into the go-home show, but Fletcher went over him on the go-home show, so that influences my pick, whether it should or not, right? Whether that's fair or unfair, I think Ospreay is going to win because of the whole Fletcher got the upper hand last night. It's going to be an awesome match as far as an in-ring perspective goes. It's going to be the action that brings us in to the show. We expect any match with Ospreay's name attached to it to be a banger. So I expect nothing less from it this time.
All right. So Matthew, we'll throw it over to you next with your thoughts.
I mean, kind of the same thoughts as Gino. This will be the Meltzer match of the night. 5 stars instantly. He's already got his lotion and tissues ready. But I just don't see Ospreay losing another match this year. Fletcher, I think, can afford to lose them more. Again, I don't think the feud's going to be over. Ricochet's probably going to get involved too. They don't have their match yet. Ricochet and Takeshita. That's not on the pay-per-view, right?
No.
So yeah, I think Ricochet and Takeshita are probably going to somehow get involved, but I think there is the Mark Davis angle too. I don't know if he's really on Ospreay's side or not, but he could be the factor that either cost Ospreay or could end up being what causes Fletcher to win. But I think Ospreay's going to win, but it's probably going to end up leading to a Fletcher-Davis feud. But yeah, I think Ospreay's going to win. I'm just not sure what exactly Mark Davis role is going to be in it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have to consider him possibly getting involved. Whose side is he on? Walter, what do you think is going to happen?
I honestly think this is the first of at least 3 matches. And usually when you do a feud like that, you usually have the heel win the first one, then the face win the second, and then you have the face. If the face is going to be the one going over, then you have them win the third match or vice versa. So it gets more investment. But I think Fletcher's going to surprise us and actually beat Ospreay here, because otherwise, once he loses, what the hell's the point to keep going? And once Ospreay does what we expect him to do and go over in the feud, then what's the point of any rematch? I feel like the heel's got to win the first one, and he's got to show that he's off his rocker now. He shaved his head to get away from him. He did all this. They might, but this is Meltzer's wet dream. There's going to be 5 Canadian destroyers, 2,200 super kicks, and 3,000 flips. But to be honest, I'm talking crap, but this might be my main event compared to all the other matches. I think they're really gonna this is what's gonna get people on their feet.
The thing is, and you know what? Ospreay is such an incredible athlete, but now I start to notice the patterns in his matches. Is he going to do that deal where somebody tries to give him an avalanche suplex in the corner and he flips and lands on his feet, does all that stuff where they suplex and he just lands on his feet. It looks great, but it's starting to become a little predictable now. We're just waiting for him to do that, waiting him to do the counter. I'm wondering, can they actually do something a little bit different that we're not expecting from a Will Ospreay match?
Or we expect at least 3 Poison Ranas back to back where they just get up right after they land on their head each. Is there is a pattern when
Ospreay will get hit with a poison runner, and then he'll immediately, with a burst of adrenaline, will hit the hidden blade, but he won't be able to make the cover.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Uthman, what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, it's going to be a hell of a spectacle, but will they change it up, or is it going to be like what we've seen from other Ospreay matches?
Yeah, I agree with everybody. This is going to be I think the match of the night, personally. It's Will Ospreay. You can never not go with that. It's going to stink for whoever has to follow this match. So either the Mariah May Mina thing is going to happen after the match, or I'm sorry, the TBS title match comes after this, but it stinks whoever has to follow this. So we'll see what happens. But I think there's going to be everyone and their mother is going to interfere in this match. I think the crowd we're gonna eat it all up. I will eat it up if everybody interferes. But in the end, I think Ospreay gets the win. But I also predict after the match, the Don Callis family is going to come out and they're going to lay him out. Again, just for us to just boo Don Callis and his people. But we'll win the match. But in the end, the Callis family will stand tall with the defeated Will Ospreay on the ground, and that's where I think Ricochet will he'll show up and cause trouble. So yeah, I think Ospreay takes in, like you guys are saying, this is probably one of many matches. And again, I think this will, personal opinion, I think this will be the match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it will be. I know I'm poking fun at it, but I do think it'll be a hell of a match. So, Matthew, we'll close it out with you, and then we'll get to the last two.
Oh, I already gave my opinion.
Oh, who are we missing? Did we get everybody?
Yeah,
Gino, I don't think Gino went. Did
I don't
you?
think
No, I started it. No,
Oh,
yeah.
He started it. I think
Everybody
we all
went. Okay, all right. So
Yeah, let's get it.
in case I didn't say mine, I go with Ospreay. But yeah, I think you guys made some good points with the interference. We're not shocked to see the Don Callis family out there. There always seems to be something with the screwdriver. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe Mark Davis will betray Will Ospreay and Fletcher wins. But I'm going to go with Ospreay to win this one.
I will.
Right.
I will totally mark out if Sky Blue shows up because I adore Sky Blue. So
With all as many times as the screwdriver pops up, I'm surprised somebody from the Don Callis doesn't have a finisher that's called the screwdriver. Like, just go all out with it.
Might as well.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have the match that I'm actually looking forward to the most on this pay-per-view. We got Bobby Lashley versus Swerve Strickland. This is Bobby Lashley's pay-per-view debut. He had his first actual match on Dynamite, beating Cheeseburger and some other guy. So yeah, this should be a very interesting match. Like I'm intrigued about this match because Bobby Lashley is a different kind of wrestler than the usual crew in AEW. Bobby Lashley is not your Dave Meltzer, go out there, have a 5-star match. Bobby Lashley is a guy who's very put together. He's got a great physique. He's a big guy. He's a big dude. He's a badass. And he's not the type of guy that's going to be selling a whole lot. So this is an interesting match. How do you book this match so both guys look strong? And how do you give people a satisfying conclusion to this one? So I'm very curious as to how they're going to book this one. So far, I'm really enjoying the Hurt Syndicate, but will Tony Khan ruin it? Are they going to screw this up? I don't know. I'm a little worried about it. So, Oof, we're going to go right back to you on this one. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, one of the bright spots of Dynamite have been how the Hurt Syndicate's been pushed. Shelton has been killing it in his matches on the shows. And I think this is going to be the second match of the night behind the Ospreay Fletcher match. This is going to be the match that people are going to be talking about. I think Swerve's going to give Bobby a run for his money. I think Bobby's going to show us what he can do. If we've been reading the reports on NoDQ.com of what the Hurt Syndicate have been saying about their experience from WWE to AEW, I think the Hurt Syndicate, they're out to prove people wrong. And I think Bobby Lashley and Swerve are going to show us what they're made of. It's going to be a good match. I'll even probably say again, like I said, second match of the night. But I'm putting Bobby over. I think he takes the first win. And again, this is a feud that has just begun. This is going to go for more other pay-per-views, more Dynamites. But the Hurt Syndicate's out to prove something. Shelton has been killing it. MVP's been killing it on the mic. And now it's Bobby's turn to show the world what he can do. We know what he can do. When he's pushed, we know how tough he is. So it's going to be a great match, second match of the night. But Bobby Lashley goes over, but it's not the end of the feud.
All right, Walter, do you agree with that? Do you think this feud would continue? I mean, we could very well see some outside interference from the Hurt Syndicate. What do you think is going to happen?
Before I get my prediction, Bobby Lashley is a 20-plus year veteran, already established big-time star. Why is his first match against, essentially the Brooklyn Brawler? Like, why are we doing that? Like, you use squash matches like that to establish new people in their dominance and stuff. You don't need to do that. You should have, if anything, you want to do a squash, you should have squashed a big star so we can take Bobby serious and be like, damn, he's here for real serious. But a cheeseburger, like, seriously, like, that made no sense. But I guess that's because we get into this, and I think there's no way. Like, if Tony screws this up and books Bobby to lose his first damn pay-per-view match, it would make like no sense, and that last little faith I have in AEW would be gone. Like, it just won't make sense. Like, to me, I don't care what interference or who got involved, and well, he looked strong in the law, so it's just a DQ. No, it just makes no sense for Bobby to lose his first damn pay-per-view. Otherwise, what was the whole point of him signing in that big deal? Plus, MVP is going to be involved in Bloodsport. You want all of Hurt Syndicate to look strong and stay strong. Like, you want eyes on that to go look at Bloodsport, and then maybe you'll turn some regular fans of that into AEW fans. So you got to take advantage. You got to think of marketing. There's no way Bobby should be losing this. I got with Bobby all the way.
Yeah, Bobby has to win this one. Matthew, would you agree?
I mean, yeah. I mean, first of all, it blows my mind that Bobby Lashley is 48 years old and looks like he did 20 years ago. The guy is, I mean, he's chiseled like a Greek god. He honestly puts the rest of the AEW roster to shame just in the physical appearance alone. But
Shelton
like
too, for
Uthman
that
said,
matter.
this is going to be the second match of the night. Honestly, this is the only match I'm really care about of the whole pay-per-view. But yeah, Lashley has to win. And I think one of the ways he's going to have to win is he's going to have to keep Swerve grounded. If he can keep Swerve grounded and just keep, him, just keep beating on him, he that's how he wins. And he needs to look strong and dominant, but, stop Swerve from, flipping around and doing all his stuff. But Lashley's got to win. I'm just curious how this feud's going to keep going. Is Swerve going to end up getting some sort of faction of his own again? Or what? Or is it just going to be Swerve versus the Hurt Syndicate until it's over? But yeah, it'd be stupid to have Lashley lose his first match. I'm still kind of upset they had Shelton already lose his first match. But Lashley's the biggest star of the group, and he needs to be dominant, and he needs to not lose for quite a while. But it's gonna be a good match. Swerve's gonna give him. Both of them are gonna give and take. But yeah, Lashley's gotta look strong and look dominant doing it.
I mean, he might legitimately be the biggest star on this entire card if you talk about like actual star power from multiple promotions. But yeah, Gino, what do you think about this one? And we'll move to the main event.
Yeah. So like you said, Matthew, Bobby Lashley's gonna have to keep beating on Swerve, keep him down. Aaron, you proposed the question, like, how do you make Swerve look strong but still have Bobby go over? Because it's got to be Bobby Lashley. I predict that he wins. I wouldn't put anything past the thought process of the bookers and Tony Khan and stuff, but it should be Bobby Lashley. I'm predicting Bobby Lashley, and he needs to be like Goldberg mixed with Brock Lesnar mixed with Ryback, just having a monster run. Because like you said, he puts all these other guys to shame physically, except for like a Powerhouse Hobbs. But like, use that, right? He's got an MMA background. He comes from the other promotion. Everybody knows he was in WWE. He's a former WWE guy. Use him as just this absolute monster. Don't put him on the mic again, right? Let MVP talk for him.
Right.
Let him just destroy people. He can destroy Swerve and Swerve still looks strong. Swerve can take a lot of punishment, right? It doesn't have to be like a 5-second squash match. He can suplex city him or whatever Bobby Lashley's version of that would be. And I'll be honest, Walter, I thought you were calling Swerve Brooklyn Brawler when you said that, but you were talking about the match last night. Yes, he should be squashing people on the television matches so that we look forward to seeing these higher quality matchups. But yeah, he needs to just be absolutely dominant, sell as little as possible. The story can continue because they had a little bit of story where Swerve attacked him and then they attack somebody who Swerve made to look like him and just standing there in the empty stairwell. So they can continue the story, I think, pretty easily. But Bobby Lashley has to be absolutely dominant. He shouldn't be losing anytime soon. The thought of him putting anybody over or being even in this is AEW. People kick out a 2 count, out of 1 count's a pile drivers. If Orange Cassidy's doing that, like Bobby Lashley shouldn't even let the ref's hand hit the mat for 1 for most of these moves if he gets pinned. I think that if you book him right, he can be one of your top stars, if not your top star, and your top draw. So I'm hoping to see that. I'm excited for that possibility.
Yeah, Walter.
To be honest, Swerve has done so much for the company, and a loss doesn't hurt him. I would actually have, much like when Lesnar came back, how he just dominated Cena and Cena could take it. I would have him dominate Swerve. Honestly, holy hell, he just ran through Swerve. We got to take him serious. And I think Swerve, it won't hurt him. He can actually lose like that, and it won't lose his credibility too much because he's so over with the fans that it can get over. You got a unique like Brock Lesnar, John Cena thing going on. Not to say Swerve is as big as Cena, but I'm just saying he could take the loss. Like he can get dominated and he won't lose his spot or his popularity at all.
All right, so there you have it. We'll see what happens with that match. And now we'll move on to the main event of the evening. Jon Moxley of the Death Riders. He's looking to take over AEW. Control of AEW is on the line when Jon Moxley...
Apparently.
Yes, when Jon Moxley defends his championship against the man, the myth, the legend, Orange Cassidy. Some people call him Pockets, but he is an enigma. He is a man of mystery. He is a man that wears sunglasses. He is a man that kicks people in the shin, but then sometimes he gets serious. This is going to be your main event of Full Gear. And on paper, I think this is the weakest main event they've ever put on. With all due respect to Orange Cassidy, who's been there since the beginning, like watching that segment on Dynamite where Orange Cassidy is getting beat up and then he just starts kicking at Moxley, it's like, come on, man. I just do not care about this match. I feel like it's a filler. And this is the main event of a pay-per-view. It feels like a filler match. Now, quick shout out to Mr. Anderson who sent in a $2 super chat. Says, watch WWE copy AEW and Bronson Reed versus Hot Dog instead of Bobby Lashley versus Cheeseburger. They might as well at this point. But anyways, you know, we ask this question for every pay-per-view, it seems. Is Shane McMahon going to show up and save this damn thing? I don't think it's going to happen. I think they have no intentions on bringing in Shane at this point, but they need something. This Death Riders faction has fallen so flat. Moxley should really just destroy Orange Cassidy and move on to the next guy. But we know that's not going to happen. It's going to be competitive, and it's going to be back and forth. But Moxley has to win this. The question is, how will they end the show? Like, is it just going to be them suffocating Orange Cassidy with a bag? Like, what are they going to do here? How are they going to top the other stuff? I don't know. So I'm curious to get everybody's opinions on this one. Matthew, I'll start with you. Yeah, I think Moxley has to retain. What do you think?
I mean, I absolutely hate this match. I hate the build. You know, the crowd showed that they didn't care Wednesday. You know, they were dead silent for Cassidy and Wheeler the entire match, and then the beatdown of, you know, Cassidy afterwards, the crowd didn't react. You know, this whole thing has been a mess. You know, Moxley comes out, quotes whatever movie or book he read that week, and, you know, it's supposedly doing some sort of hostile takeover, but this is like the NWO taking out, you know, Disco Inferno and Berlin, and, you know, it's terrible. But yeah, Moxley gonna win because, you know, supposedly Darby's the savior, and if it's not Darby, it's the Young Bucks that are the savior of AEW. But Orange Cassidy's not a main event guy. I don't care how popular he is with the fans, how popular he is with Tony. This is like putting the Brooklyn Brawler against, God, I'm not even sure who Moxley would be a good equivalent of, because to me, Moxley's not a main eventer either. You know, he's the Jannetty of the Shield. I'm sorry. I will stand on that hill.
Oof.
Moxley is the worst member of the Shield.
Well, they did yell, "Go back to Roman." That one.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, Moxley's going to win. Like you said, I do worry that there's going to be some sort of plastic bag over the head again, or they're going to duct tape him or something. There's going to be some sort of goofy shock and awe finish to try to bring back the heat for this feud. But I think it's already dead in the water. But Moxley's going to win. But, you know, I'm kind of morbidly curious how they're going to end it and how people are going to talk about it positively or negatively afterwards, because that's really going to be what everybody remembers is.
Did we lose him?
Suspense is killing me.
I think we finally lost him. He did tell me he was having some internet problems. So, yeah, maybe Tony Khan just cut off his feed right there and had about enough of his bull crap. Anyways, Walter, I'll throw it over to you now. So, I mean, what do they do here to top the last pay-per-view event? Oh, Matthew's back. Welcome back, Matthew. Hi, Matthew. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Walter, what do we do here to top the other shenanigans? Like, you had a bag over Bryan Danielson's head. How do you top that here? What can they do? What would make you satisfied and be like, yeah, that was cool. Like, I'm getting into this now. What could they do to sell you on this storyline?
Only thing they can do that would bring me back is something that won't happen. But had Bryan not needed neck surgery, even though the match he retired, this would have been the match to just make him come back to been like, yo, after all you just put me through, and you just want all of a sudden Bryan is hitting with no music, no nothing, and goes and beats the hell out of everybody that's in there. He has his backup or something. That would be the only way that I'm satisfied. If somehow Bryan Danielson came back for this, but we know he really needed the neck surgery, and that ain't gonna happen. So I don't know. I honestly, it's to the point where this isn't even the main event to me. I would open with this, even though it's the world title. I would open with this and let Bobby Lashley finish the pay-per-view and just put all your eggs in that basket. Like, I honestly, like, I can't take someone serious that sounds like he should be part of my breakfast, like orange juice. like seriously, like I just can't do it. The only thing I do give him is I like the way he's introduced, like the from wherever, weighing whatever. Like, that's the only thing that I like about him. Like, honestly, everything else I could do without. And the fact that this dude spends half the match in his pocket with his hands in his pocket, like, you really gonna do that to Moxley? Like, it wouldn't even. It's disrespectful to him. Like, to me, like. So to me, this is more of an opening match, and the fact that this is your world title match, like, you have MJF fighting Daniel Garcia, the people like that deserve title shots. Yet you're gonna give Orange Cassidy this main event. It makes no sense to me. Okay, I just thought of something. The other thing that might make me satisfied is if Christian cashes in his little opportunity and he walks away with the title. Then I might be a little happy. If Christian does that, matter of fact, I just put it out there and say he'll do it. Like, screw it. Let Christian be a jackass and do it. But I say Moxley's gonna win this one. But then, actually, if you're gonna make Cassidy win out of nowhere just to get it, you might as well make Cassidy win, and then Christian immediately takes that spot away from him and pass it. And it's like, see, you don't even deserve the title. Like, you were champion for 2 minutes, or not even. That would be hilarious to me. That would maybe make me satisfied. But like, it'll kind of shit on your company at the same time. But it is Tony Khan we're talking about, so he might have the balls to actually do that. But Moxley retains here. It's just, oh my god, the fact that they have him here in the main event makes no sense. You got too much talent in there.
Gino, I want to throw this at you. So what if it's Kenny Omega who shows up at the end of the show and comes out there and cleans house, and he's back, and they book him as the guy that's going to save AEW? I mean, he's ready to come back. He's going to be at the New Japan show in January. So what if he comes out there and he draws the line in the sand with Moxley's group? Would you be satisfied with that, or what else could possibly get you invested in this storyline?
So I'll be honest, I'm invested a little bit in this storyline. So Walter, you read my mind with Cassidy can win and then gets it taken right away from him. I don't think that shits on the company. I think that actually bolsters the whatever contract title shot thing that he has, right? Like, you need that to mean something, and I think that would be a good way to put that over. Matthew, you said it perfectly. It's written here exactly as you said it. Orange is not a main eventer. Like, it's literally exactly as you said it. Nor do I think he's the right person to represent the company as the champion. I don't know. I feel like he deserves a run. Everybody else has had a run with it. Mox has had it enough. The idea of taking over a company from within, you've got the title and stuff like that, but I feel like more could be done without the title if Mox loses. I'm going to predict Orange Cassidy wins. It would help me a lot if Christian comes out and does that, because that would make more sense. storyline wise for that to happen. As far as Kenny Omega is concerned, I'm trying to think of who could be the savior of AEW, and Kenny Omega is a great pick. He's one of the absolute originals. He's part of all of that stuff. He's still got that, great in-ring worker like Ospreay. I mean, Kenny Omega is one of the true stars, or borderline superstars that AEW actually has. He's main evented all around the world. I feel like that would make me very satisfied. Now, I don't want to forget that Orange Cassidy made it adamant that he needs to be out there alone. While we know Mox is going to have his crew, Orange Cassidy's not going to have anybody. That tells me that they're setting up some type of either overcoming the odds, or like you said, where somebody else is going to come down and do something. So I believe that plays into Orange Cassidy's favor a little bit more. I'm going to go out there on a limb, and I'm going to say that Orange Cassidy wins the title. He does deserve it, even if it's for a minute, with Christian cashing it in.
Whoa. All right. Well, Walter.
I just want that full circle moment because I like that you brought up Kenny. Wasn't Moxley the one that ended Kenny's run? So that's in there.
That was Hangman Page.
Was it Hangman?
Yeah.
Why was I thinking Moxley?
Well, I mean, they had that first.
They had a few.
Match.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Match.
But still, they still got a rivalry that they never really finished in that injury. So I like that idea that. But you got to do something. I like the Christian thing better because it just fits Christian so much better to do that too, to make him such the asshole that Orange gets this huge moment, and then 10 seconds later, Christian's like, nope.
And remember, Edge was the first person to cash in a Money in the Bank, so you got that Christian and Edge type of, parallel as well.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Kenny Omega showing up. Oscar, we're gonna wrap it up with you here, and no, not JPEG. I don't think Shane McMahon's showing up. There hasn't really been any update, nor do I think he's gonna show up. But Oscar, anything you would like to see be in there live? What would be your fantasy booking for this? What do you actually think is going to happen as well?
Yeah, to get the Shane factor out of the way quickly, honestly, Shane brings zero to the product. He'll bring one thing, buzz, for 1 week.
Right.
You, Aaron, will probably be NoDQ. We'll probably get hits.
Yeah.
Congratulations on you. Tip my hat to you. But for 1 week. Oh, a McMahon is in AEW. So what? So, yes, I hope this whole Shane coming to AEW thing is gone. When this whole, and unfortunately for this match, not only I'd like to say it's a double-edged sword that's causing this match to be not really good. Number one, it's suffering from the build, and number two, the main storyline. So they're trying this hostile takeover. All right, that's cool, but look how it started off. You had all these jobbers defending AEW. It's like, imagine in WCW, the NWO started. Hogan, Hall and Nash start showing up. But instead of the Four Horsemen and the Dungeon of Doom, it's the luchadors standing up for WCW. Everyone would be like, these little guys are standing up for WCW. So, but again, though, as reports say that Mox has a lot of input into the storyline, I just hope this storyline has a good end game. And I hope it ends perfectly well for the sake of the company. And also, Aaron, you forgot to mention that Orange Cassidy now wears dark jeans, so he's serious.
So he's serious. Yeah,
he's serious now.
Oh yeah.
So
now
Orange Cassidy
green instead of orange.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a tangerine now. Yeah, Tangerine Cassidy. So yeah, Orange is over. Like I said, the Dynamites I've been to at Prudential, we've cheered him on. Like Walter said, his intro, I always laugh when I hear his intro from wherever, waiting, whatever. It's just great. But main eventer, savior of AEW, and also that line, I don't know, I don't think it was Tony that said it, but the whole line of like, this match is to save AEW, or who controls AEW.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a contract on the line? Really? When I caught that, I was like, oh, you're overselling it, bro. But
Moxley never even really took over TBS. He threatened
didn't even take over TBS, let alone the company. Yeah. So anyway, so now after hearing what all you guys said, you guys all fired me up. So I'm going to probably have all my predictions. This is going to be the wildest one I'm going to predict. So especially after how the last pay-per-view ended, the suffocation and basically public death of Daniel Bryan at the hands of Moxley, I'm going to say, and I'm going to agree with, I think it was Gino that said it. I'm going to say that, yes, Orange Cassidy does pin Moxley. He does win the AEW title. We will all go crazy in the Prudential Center. There'll be confetti, there'll be fire, everything. But then the countdown begins from 10 all the way to 1. Christian Cage does appear. He does win the AEW title from Orange Cassidy. But then, Aaron, you said it. I think, again, because of the way the last pay-per-view ended, it'll end with Christian holding the belt in the air. Mama Wayne, everybody's going to come down and celebrate. And I think they're going to pull a WWE where you're going to see the copyright sign. And then Kenny Omega's music hits, and Kenny comes out and stares down Christian from the stage. We all go home happy. So that is my prediction. That Orange Cassidy
you
beats.
combine Aaron's and
Yes, I'm combining
together.
everybody's idea.
Yeah.
Only because of how the last pay-per-view ended. So Orange Cassidy beats Moxley, but then gets cashed in by Christian Cage. But the pay-per-view ends with Christian Cage celebrating, but out comes Kenny Omega, and there's a stare down between Omega and Christian, and I and however many more at the Prudential Center go home happy.
Well, we do need a happy ending, I think, after the last
we do.
pay-per-view.
After that, that's why, especially when you brought up, I completely forgot about Kenny. He did the whole, well, I'm coming back at New Japan. It's like,
Right.
it's weird he would go there instead of AEW, but I think he teases us. He comes out, just stares at Christian, does his little gun thingy, and pay-per-view ends. Christian standing there, grasping the title like, and Kenny is standing there pointing the gun. And like I said, me and everybody in Jersey, we go home happy.
All right, well, there you have it. So that is it for our predictions for AEW Full Gear 2024. We'll go ahead and do plugs before we head out. Oof, we'll start with you. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
No plugs or anything. Just I want to thank you guys for this opportunity, especially you, Aaron. I just want to a big shout out to my boys. We'll be going to the show on Saturday. So shout out to my boy Joe, to Matt, to Kris, to Glenn, and to mega shout out to Flash Carter. He's an independent wrestler. Check him out on social media. Flash Carter is his name. And again, it was an honor to be here. I'll be posting videos and photos from Prudential Center on Saturday on the NoDQ Facebook page. So check them out. Again, I really don't want to watch that 0 hour match, but for you, Aaron, I'll probably stand in the entranceway of the arena just to get the feel, because that's just going to be, I don't get who they are. I don't get the whole TikTok stuff. So whatever. But again, like we said, AEW does pretty good with pay-per-view. So I am looking forward to it. And again, looking forward to being on the panel once again. So gentlemen, thank you again.
Absolutely. You're always welcome, Don. An honor to have you on tonight.
That
So
0 hour match, that's your chance to buy all the merch you want to.
I think I'm going to do that. I said it
the
before.
problem is everybody else will be doing that.
Yeah. So like I said, me and my friends will probably wait to go to our seats after that match, but I'll try to get a good sound of what the crowd is doing. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Thank you for that, Oof. And we'll go over to Gino. Gino, go ahead with your plugs.
Yeah, always happy to be here. Always a pleasure being here. Oof, very nice to meet you. Welcome on, man. I hope you have a blast at the event. If you guys like video games or talking wrestling or movies or whatever, you can find me on YouTube at PapaGino0017. We have some fun over there. We have some fun right here too. I love being able to talk wrestling with you guys. It's always one of the highlights of my day and week. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Matthew, anything you would like to plug or promote?
Not really, just as always, it's a pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you, Oofman. Hope to see you on predictions again. Check out, NoDQ.com. As Aaron said, we might be, somewhat critical of our comments, but, we don't want to see AEW fail. We want to see them take what we're saying and improve, prove us wrong. That's, something I've learned my entire life is I've had to prove people wrong because of my size or my appearance and, prove me wrong, make me eat my words, but I look forward to the show. I look forward to, SmackDown tomorrow. And, as always, thank you for having me. And, I look forward to the next predictions, the next review, and just everybody just be positive and enjoy wrestling. And, love our tribal chief, Aaron Rift.
Oh, I appreciate that. And this is the last time your tribal chief will be doing a stream at age 41. But yeah, tomorrow SmackDown, I'll be doing a stream on my birthday. There you go. No days off. Rage of Wrestling. Walter, any final thoughts?
Yeah, tune in. This Saturday we will be doing watch along with the only reliable SRS, the real reliable SRS, and that graphic might be more than the actual main event that AEW is putting on. But anyways, you can follow me on X at Walter Alex Cruz, and then on Instagram Walter.Cruz.940, and of course the Rage of Wrestling YouTube channel. No spaces when you look that up. So yeah, tune in Saturday. We will be providing alternative commentary with me, Noah, and James. So like I said, the only reliable SRS, the Simply Reliable Studio. So yeah, tune in for that. And again, thanks for having me up here.
Absolutely, always a pleasure to have you on. When we got Mr. Reliable and Mr. Reliable 2 with Gino, and Matthew's becoming Mr. Reliable 3. So I thank you guys for being available for the stream, and thank you, Oof, for coming on. It was a great stream. Everybody. It's Lola Vice on that graphic, by the way.
Oh, I'll be Senor Reliable. I'll do the
Perfect.
I'll take it that way.
Love it. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy Full Gear. I will be back SmackDown to discuss that show. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and we'll see you all next time.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, boss.
Thank you.